All right, we're now at video number 4 of the Starting Out Working in College Athletics Development podcast video kind of tour here. This one's gonna be a little bit shorter. I'm just gonna talk to you about kind of planning for alumni outreach and visits. I've just started kind of getting into that, but getting the lay of the land, and we'll love to take you all through it. So I will throw this graphic up here. All right, and now we can get into it. So the first step is to pull an alumni donor info from our database. So we have our CRM system, and there is a backend to that system that is strictly a site that stores data. So that'll give you Excel spreadsheets, and you can put in filters, for example, for a specific sport that they may have played, a specific graduation year, a specific location, any number of filters. I think there's literally hundreds within our system that we can pull information from our database with. So that's the first thing you'll want to do is pull info on alumni and donors that fit what you are looking for from the database. So next step is going to be, once you have that information in an Excel spreadsheet, so for the sake of having an example, we will say I pulled the entire football alumni base. So I will take that spreadsheet and I'm going to filter the data, probably split it up by state, maybe split up by class, or location. Really just depends on what I'm looking for. So in this case, I'm gonna say that I split it up by location as I'm looking to kind of pick an area that I want to visit. So that leads into the next step in the process, which is to identify locations with a high volume of alumni. So when you're planning a visit, you don't want to go somewhere where there's only going to be 2 alumni, and then you're paying for, the flight, the train, the rental car, whatever it may be, to go and just meet with 2 alumni, because chances are you're not going to get a donation from every person that you talk to. And if you're just meeting with 2 people, there's more than likely less of an opportunity for high-end giving from those 2 people. So just simply playing a numbers game, you do want to pick a location where you can meet with a higher volume of people. So obviously cities like New York, Los Angeles, Boston might be another good example, Chicago. Large metropolitan areas will typically have larger alumni bases and are a pretty safe bet. But the point being that you want to schedule as many meetings as possible in the time that you're there. So if you're going to New York for a day trip, you want to try to schedule at least 3 meetings, maybe 2, if one of the people you're meeting with is maybe higher rated. But if you're going to, let's say, Los Angeles, and you're going to spend obviously more than a day out there, maybe you're out there for 3 days, you want to get at least probably 8 or 9 visits on the calendar, just to even make that travel worth it and make the cost of paying for all that worth it. So going into the next step is to select that target location and identify a pool of quote unquote anchor visit candidates. So this is just how it works in the University of Pennsylvania Athletic Development Office. I'm not sure if this is exactly how it works other places, but an anchor visit is somebody that is a higher rated prospect that maybe has the capacity to give more money and is the person that really makes the trip worthwhile. So that's going to be, I would say picking, if you're looking at Los Angeles, a place with more people, a pool of 10 to 20 people that you think you could get a meeting with and that would have capacity to give 6 figures, maybe even more. So these anchor visits are people that you are going to reach out to first. So these are ones you want to make sure your schedule is completely open and you get them on your calendar as priority. And then once you get these anchor visits on the calendar, that will kind of lead into our next step, which is beginning outreach to other people in the area that you think are worth meeting with, and you want to engage them as alumni, but maybe they're just not at that same capacity level that the anchor visits are at. So these are called filler visits, is one way to refer to them. Others just general visits. So this is going to be probably the majority of what you have, honestly. Maybe you'll get a few of the anchor visits if you're doing well, but if you are looking at making sure you're getting your numbers up for a visit. Like I mentioned, if you're going to a place like LA for 3 days, you want to have 8 or 9 visits scheduled at least. You're going to have, as many filler visits as you can possibly fit into your schedule, just to make sure that you are hitting the numbers that you're supposed to on visits. And then, in meeting with people, you never know, somebody that maybe we haven't done the research on, maybe they do have capacity to give more, but at the end of the day, it's just getting as many people as you can to support the program, because every cent that you raise is going to be a big benefit to you and to the program. And then once you've gotten all those visits kind of locked down, everything's scheduled out, when you need to get there by, when you're going to be ready to leave, that is when you can start looking at booking a flight, train, rental car, all that, and then obviously, booking a hotel. And then once you have everything booked as far as flight and hotel goes, you need to build out your itinerary that we will send around to our staff before we go, just letting them know who we're visiting, where we're visiting them, at what time, so they have our schedule and know where we're staying in case anything were to happen, unfortunately. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the planning of your outreach and visits to alumni and donors. I hope it was insightful for you guys. I know for me, learning about it as I was going through it, it was pretty cool because 1, I love to travel, and 2, this is key function of the job. So yeah, hope you got something out of it, and I'll look forward to catching up with you again in video number 5.